am who he created me to be.
Right.
I've tried to be a Mary and pondered on my heart, and that is not who God created me to be. Anyone that knows me, that's just not me. And so I had to embrace just being who I am and the gifts that I have. I think that far too often people are searching for their calling, and they think it's a job, and they think it's an occupation. I have natural God-given abilities. You have natural innate abilities that are given to you. The best way that we can possibly use those things is to find an avenue and to use those gifts, whether I was in education or whether I was going to work at stocking shelves at Walmart, which is a great job too, or I would love to go and work at Hobby Lobby. I love Hobby Lobby.
I do too.
But I would have to be, but the purpose is that I have to use the gifts that I've been given and use them to the best of my abilities for a greater purpose.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Brighter Together podcast. My name is Janet Courtney, and my special guest today is Dr. Katie Lowry. Katie is the Director of Special Education at Lumpkin County School District in Dahlonega, Georgia, and I had the very special pleasure of getting to know Katie just this past year. We were at GK's together. So, Katie, it is great to have you on the show.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here.
So tell our listeners a little bit about you and how you became the director, and a little bit about Lumpkin County.
Okay. So my name is Katie. I went into special education in 2004 after graduating with a degree in psychology. And the week before I graduated, I went to my professor and I said, "Oh my gosh, I think God's calling me to be a special ed teacher." And he said, "I knew he'd tell you in his timing." And I said,
Wow.
"I'm graduating in a week. Like, it would have been nice to have known." So, so that happened. So, I tried to fight it. I'm married to a teacher. My mom's a teacher. My grandparents were educators, everyone in my family. So I was not going into education, but, the Lord had bigger plans for me. And so, after I graduated, I ended up taking a year and working for DFACS and as a case manager, and just kept feeling that tug. And so the first time I ever wrote a lesson plan or student taught was in my own EBD self-contained high school classroom in Telfair County, Georgia, in a very rural and small district with 25 boys who were big bad and with probation officers. And I fell in love.
Wow.
Those were my people, and I knew that that's where I needed to be. So I spent 2 years down in Telfair. I came home to Gwinnett County, the largest district in the state, worked at a high school there. While there, I became a department chair. I started an RTI intervention lab, was able to do that, had a great time there for 8 years, then was called to be a special ed director in Raven County, which is where I was for 4 years. And then I left there in 2018 and came to Lumpkin County, where I've been the special ed director for the last 8 years. And
Nice,
Lumpkin
very
is
nice.
a smallish, we're growing, rural district, about an hour north of Atlanta. We are known because we've had Hallmark movies filmed here, and most recently the Netflix series His and Hers was filmed here. So
Wow.
yeah, so that's my new claim to fame. But we have about 3,200 students, and approximately 600 SWDs, are students with disabilities, and we love it. It's a small college town, and my husband and my 3 boys and myself have been here for the past 8 years.
Nice. Very nice. Amazing. Oh, I love that. I love your journey. It's like when God gets a hold of you, he gets a hold of you. And whether it's kind of like when he called me to start Lighthouse, he had been tapping on my shoulder for a couple of years. And I was like, "Lord, no, I'm comfortable. I
Okay.
like my life. Let me be." I was doing teletherapy. I was working from home, raising my kids, we homeschooled for several years. Actually, I think we were almost done homeschooling, because by the time my son went to 8th grade, he wanted to go back to public school. And I was like, "That's cool." He wanted to play football, and he ended up being a wrestler. So there you go. But, but it was one of those things where it was like, I knew God had more for me, but I just didn't want to hear it. I don't
Yeah.
want to hear it.
Yeah.
I'm good right here. Leave me alone.
Absolutely.
I'm good.
You can speed
And
up the will of God, and you can't speed up the will of God, and you can't slow it down. So no matter
exactly.
how hard you run or how slow you walk, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be.
Yeah, for sure. And that's it. And here we are 8 years later. Yeah. So you've been in Lumpkin 8 years and Lighthouse will be 8 years in July. So very cool. Very, very cool. So tell us a little bit. I know you had some very specific things that we wanted to talk about. I'd love to hear about your experiences and kind of where things are going in your life right now.
Sure. So it was not funny. I call it a God wink. The day that I was scheduled to speak with someone from your department to talk about what I wanted to talk about, I was given a list of these things that are just some ideas, and I was reading
Mm-hmm.
through them, and I was like, okay, things I'm really proud of, and I was like, yeah, I don't feel good about that, or things my district does really well. Yeah, we do a lot of things really well, but I just don't know about that. And my strengths as the leader, and I was like, yeah, and it just kind of hit me that what I want to talk about was how my passions have evolved as a leader. I really am I'm an atta girl person. I like to be praised. I like to be cheered on. I like to be encouraged. I love those kinds of things, and leadership when you get to this level is pretty lonely. And the higher
Mm-hmm.
up you go, the lonelier that it gets, and the less awards you get, and the less pats on the back that you get, and the less ribbons that you win. And so God had really spoken to me right before the day before this happened. We have what's called an Ideal Indian, which is an award that we give out. You're able to nominate your coworkers throughout our district, and it's given once a month to people, to individuals at our Board of Education meeting, and it's a great honor. And so
Oh, yeah.
I had never gotten one, and so I was like, I want one of those. I want me an Ideal Indian. And so, here I sit. I've been here 8 years, and I've sat through. I did the math. Again, I married a math teacher so my kids would have a chance.
Yeah.
So several years have gone, several months have gone through, several board meetings, and I got one. And I came back, and as I was doing my devotion the next morning, I really just started journaling, and I was like, that's great and I feel good about it, but
Mm-hmm.
did it change anything? And the answer is no. It didn't.
Mm-mm.
It didn't change anything. It was that momentary praise that I
Yeah.
thought I so desperately needed. And then when I was given these questions and I was tasked with it, I started journaling on, okay, what am I going to talk about? And that's when God spoke to me, and he said, it's not about that stuff, obviously. What to me my new passion has been is to build that capacity and leadership in others. And so one of my coordinators, I'm incredibly blessed and spoiled, and I will say that. I have a whole team of people that I get to work with, which is amazing. And
Yeah.
and the most fun I've had over the past 8 years is being able to watch the people in my team grow into who they're supposed to be as leaders. And it's so fun to sit back and in a meeting that I know 5 years ago, and one of my coordinators would probably not say much at all, and now she's like, I got this. I'm like, yes,
Ah,
you do. You do you. And so that's kind of what I wanted to just talk about, was just that my vision for leadership has shifted from it being about me to being about others, and about building that capacity in others, because um I might not be here tomorrow. And
right.
and the fact is that the impact that I make could just stop with me. And it did. I was at Tequila High School. I started that intervention lab, and it was awesome. I was able to run data. Could statistically prove the significance of it, and it was great. And then I left the district, and that baby, my baby, it just kind of faded away because there wasn't another Katie to take over it. And
Right.
and it was no fault of anyone but myself. I didn't build it for sustainability and capacity. I think I made it about me most of the time. About, look at what a great job I'm doing. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but then when I'm not there, the work doesn't keep going. And so I've really had to shift to say, okay, what does success look like? What's that definition look like? And it's so much more and greater than a trophy or a plaque or a new title or a promotion. And that's not what the world
Amen.
tells us that it is.
Yeah.
And
No, it's
so
definitely not.
so that can be very wearing, because the world
Mm-hmm.
is saying you need all of this, but my spirit is saying it's not enough. It's never enough. It's a bucket with a bunch of holes in it, and we're just pouring water, and it's never going to fill up. It's not capable of doing that, because that's not what we were made to do. And so yeah, so that's
And
kind
yet
of
that's what we chase after, right? I mean, it's
sure.
like you chase after that's what, and I love that you said that because it's like we chase after those things. We're taught that, you want to get to the next promotion, you want to get to the next thing, but God says that those things, if you are not blessing others and giving back of what I have given you, it's an empty place, and it's an empty blessing. It's not something that you don't send it on forward. It doesn't it doesn't go anywhere. It's just well, gosh, you did that, great, but it's not going to sustain you. It's not going to make anything any better. And so I'm totally there with you. I totally get it. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that especially for any other special ed directors that are out there, we're a party of one in our districts.
Yep.
Typically, there's
Hmm.
not, I don't get to talk to the other sped director in my district. It's just me, and so like I said, it's pretty lonely, um, and so looking around trying to find ways to get petted and told I'm pretty and I'm doing a good job is just chasing my tail, and I'm not
Hmm.
I'm not going to find it.
Right.
Just looking around, because the fact is, by the time things land on my desk, it's bad enough to have landed on my desk. Every formal complaint, every OCR complaint, every lawsuit I've ever been a part of, I I didn't know the kid before walking into
Hmm.
the situation. I had nothing to do with it. But yet I'm the one responsible now, and I'm the one that has to take the lead on it. And that's just, it's so much pressure, and it can be so heavy. And it's not something that you're prepared to do alone. And I think that's an
Hmm.
important part too. Like, we weren't created to carry all of that on our own. And if you
Right.
try, it will crush you. It will, in the state of Georgia,
Wear you
every
down.
year we have about a third turnover. It- we have like 180, and I'm totally making this up. It's somewhere close to this. We have lots of special ed directors. Let's say we have
Hmm.
188 directors. And every year we're looking at a new group of at least 50 new special education directors across the state, because it's just not sustainable. And
Hmm.
so you have to find ways to get those wins, and you have to find ways to build that capacity, and you have to find ways, like you said, to fill yourself to be sustainable. Because
Hmm.
it's a lot of hard work, and it's not getting any easier.
Hmm.
So
No, no.
but it's
And
definitely worth it.
and so tell me how, once you made that realization that, hey, it's empty and I did this and it wasn't, I mean, and what you did wasn't bad, it was successful at that moment, but it wasn't sustainable. So how did you shift? What kinds of things did you start doing that made you the incredible leader, and you're an amazing person. I know that. I've had time
Thank
to
you.
spend with you, and it's just, and so much fun. She's so fun. She's such a fun
I'll take
person.
that one. I hope, yeah,
I love it.
entertaining.
Yeah.
That's what my goal is.
It's but but your team. I mean, I met some of your team while I was in Savannah, and they have such respect for you, and you see it. I mean, when people are really good at their job, and when people are not so good at their job. I mean, it just, people don't, people people are attracted to other people who care, and to other leaders who care. So give us a little bit of insight on how did you make that shift?
Like I said, I have the personality, and I'm unapologetically, God brought this to me. I'm unapologetically unapologetic. I am who he
Mhm.
created me to be. I've tried
Right.
to be I've tried to be a Mary and pondered on my heart, and that is not who God created me to be. Anyone that knows me, that's just not me. Um and so I had to embrace just being who I am and the gifts that I have. I think that far too often people are searching for their calling, and they think it's a job, and they think it's an
Mm.
occupation, and it's
Mhm.
I have natural God-given abilities. You have natural innate abilities that are given to you. The best way that we can possibly use those things is to find an avenue and to use those gifts, whether I was in education or whether I was going to work at stocking shelves at Walmart, which is a great job too, or I
Mhm.
would love to go and work at Hobby Lobby. I love Hobby Lobby.
I do too.
But I would have to be, but the purpose is that I have to use the gifts that I've been given, and use them to the best of my abilities for a greater purpose. And I think that that's one of the ways, is that I had to learn that it wasn't always about me. and that my success couldn't just be about what I did. It maybe it's kind of like when you're a parent and when you were a kid and you Christmas morning you woke up and it was all about you and you want to see what you
Mhm.
got and your gifts.
Right.
And I will never forget the first Christmas when all three of my boys understood what it meant to unwrap a present instead of just playing with a box. And I just sat back so excited for them to open their presents because we had worked hard and picked things out that I knew they were going to love and their excitement. And that's what fueled me as a parent. It had nothing to do with me at that point. I knew it was going to bring them joy. And I think that so often in leadership, and I fight it every day. Because like I said, I'm an all about me person most of the time. But being able to shift that perception and realize that it's about building everybody up where they're at and meeting them where they are and having those authentic relationships. You have to know your team. You have
Yeah.
to know that on this day when I see my coordinator, when I see this person, I go, they're not in a good place. So it's not a good time to try and go, we have to get this done now. You have to be able to
Mhm.
read the room and get to know all those people that are around you. A huge part of your job as a special education director is dealing with parents. And parents are passionate and they should be. I thank parents for coming to the table. I think it's important they understand their parental rights. I think it's important that we give them a voice and that they
Right.
advocate for their kids and they feel heard because if you really stop and think about it, if you've shown up at my desk, you're scared. It comes off as
Mhm.
anger, but it's
Right.
it's fear because you don't know what else to do for your child. And I respect that. And
Mhm.
so you have to just change your mindset about it's not about me. So if a parent comes to me angry, they're not actually mad at me. I'm just the person that they're getting angry at because I represent that person.
Right.
And just kind of go with, about allowing it to just be about other people.
One thing I often hear from school leaders is, I just want a partner who puts students first. At Lighthouse Therapy, that's exactly what we do. We don't have outside investors and we don't answer to shareholders. Instead, we answer to school leaders like you, those listening to this podcast. Whether you're wanting virtual, hybrid, or in-person therapy, our systems are designed to make your life easier and your team stronger. We are a therapy company run by therapists for the betterment of students. Visit lighthouse-therapy.com/brighter together to learn how we can help you support your students this year. And that's servant leadership. That's what servant leadership is all about. It is about finding everybody's gifts that come within your framework of education or whatever it is that you're doing. I always tell people when I started Lighthouse, I did everything. It was like, because I was the
Mhm.
speech therapist and I was the CEO and I was the marketer and I was the recruiter and I was the biller, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. My daughter and my son, and when you met my daughter,
She's wonderful.
were
Yeah.
there. They started Lighthouse with me 8 years ago. They still are with me. They still put up with me. It's incredible. I did learn along the way that I'm mom first. I did learn that mom has to come before, especially when you have a family business. But I always tell people, I'm like, I was like a juggler spinning plates. You got the plate that was wobbling was the one that got the attention. And that was what I did. And then God kept bringing the most amazing people, every single person that's on my team at a management level, and so many of our other therapists. I just see God bringing people to me. I never actually have had to open a position. It's like I need this person, and there they were. And then there's so many stories of like that. But they are such incredible people, and they know I'm a Christian, and they know that faith is our center core value, and that we love what we do, and we love the kids, and they have caught the vision, and they love what they're doing, and I let them do their job.
Right.
We were in a
Yes.
meeting just before
Yes.
this, and I was like, okay, we had this issue that came up, and we're supporting this therapist. This thing is happening, and we were talking about contracts for next year, and they were like, so we're going to make this shift, and I was like, okay, what are we doing? Because
Last
I'm
second.
not I'm not the one that does it. I mean, and they'll come to me and they'll be like, "Are you okay with this?" And I'm like, "Yeah, that sounds great. Go with it."
Right.
But I don't always keep it all in my head. because I don't have to.
Right.
Because I got all these
Yes.
amazing people that are doing all the things that all those plates that were wobbling, I don't have them anymore. I get to
Right.
do this. I get to be the CEO. I get to make decisions about finances and sign contracts and be a podcast host. But it's
Pretty cool.
amazing when you can be a leader and inspire people and tell them, "Hey, you are so good at what you do, and I am so grateful." But they also need to hear it. I love it at the beginning when you said, you get to this level and you're not the one that gets the attaboys anymore. You're not the one that gets the rewards. You're not the one. And my team tells me how good I am and all of those things. And it's humbling to me most of the time. It's like,
Yes.
I didn't do it. I didn't do it. God did it. I just am captaining the ship. But it is sometimes, it's lonely at the top. It's a hard position to be in sometimes. So you have to find those things that give you joy.
And that's it. And I think that for me, I believe in hiring people that are smarter than me, and that are better than me, and that want my job. Those are the people I want to surround myself with. And again, that's probably just growth and maturity that's gotten me to that point. That
Mhm.
I go, I need people who are not. I don't need another Katie. Good Lord, we get nothing done in this office if there was more than, than one of me. I'm a lot to handle. I'm very aware of that. So I need people that are not just like me to
Mhm.
to help to help support the vision and where it is that we're going. And you said something about, I think playing off people's strengths. And I will give credit to Gwinnett County. When I went through their leadership program 12 years ago, we had a person there who kept telling us, there are strengths and there are lesser strengths. And I believe that.
Mm, that's
I don't
good.
want to
I like
waste my
that.
time on weaknesses because
Mhm.
I can't change that. I'm 5'1". You've seen me.
Yeah.
Like, I never played basketball. There are probably people who are 5'1" that are great at basketball, but that was just not in the deck of cards for me. And so instead of spending so much time and energy on something that I thought I'm not going to be good at, I've learned to shift and go, okay, what am I really good at and what can I make better? And I think that
Mhm.
that's another huge shift in leadership is that I'm not going to waste time on those things that are my lesser strengths if I can find someone who that is their strength.
Right.
And each of my coordinators, Vicky and Ashley and Beth and Melissa and my admin assistant, Christy, they are all my school psych team. They all have their unique gifts and talents, and I need them for those reasons. I need them to be
Mhm.
able to be great at what they do because it makes my job easier. And I've been in a district where it was me and my admin assistant, and every decision I had to make, and it was very lonely and it was difficult and it was exhausting to have to do that.
Mhm.
um, the cool thing about being the leader now is that I can go, all right, let's brainstorm. We have a whole sped suite is what we call it outside of the store. And I go, here's the problem. Let's talk about it. And at the end of the day, the decision rests with me. Whether
Right.
it's good or bad, it rests with me because if it goes wrong, I'm going to take the fall
You're
for
going
it.
to be responsible. Yeah.
If it
Mhm.
goes well, I'm going to give everyone accolades for it because
Mhm.
they helped get me to that solution. But
Right.
to be blessed with a team that I can even have people to bounce those ideas off of is something that a lot of people in small districts, I know for a fact because I've traveled the state and I've been in small districts, they don't have that as an opportunity, as an option. And that's why it is so important that you have things like in our state, we have our G case, which you came to the
Yep.
conference. And my best friend and I have been best friends because we met through doing G case 12 years ago. And that's all I talk to text with those girls every day almost. Those are my best friends
Mhm.
because they get it. It might be
Yeah.
in a different part of the state, it might be in a different size district, but they get it. And so you have to have those people in your corner too
Yeah.
because it's not easy and it is hard. It's work. But anything, that's work is worth it.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're making a difference in the grand scheme of the world, every single child, every single parent that crosses your desk is somebody that needs your expertise, that needs your team, that needs to know that they have somebody in their corner. And I think that is just it's a beautiful thing to be in education and to be able to talk about this is such a valuable conversation because people need to know that there are people out there that struggle with the same kinds of of things, but have a solution, have an answer. And for you and I, we know that Jesus is the answer. We know that having somebody and knowing that there is a greater purpose for every single thing that we do is so critical, and it is what fuels everything that we do. And that's and you can do that in education. It's not wrong to be a
Right.
Christian and be in education. And I love the fact that I have this platform that allows me to say that out loud. And there are people that won't like that I say that, but that's okay. You don't have
Yeah,
to listen, right?
absolutely. Absolutely.
And we love you anyway.
Yeah, yeah, that totally works. And I've been in districts where it was frowned upon that you didn't have your
Mhm.
Bible on your desk. You didn't do those things. And I always said, well, if it's not where God wants me to be, he'll move me somewhere else. And I think that,
Yeah.
and I'm okay with that. Um,
Yeah.
and 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 maybe that's why I've been in 4 different places. Because God can see the path that I need to go down even when I can't see it. And
Yeah.
and and that's very freeing too.
Yeah.
That I don't have to worry about those things because I have someone else who is, and that's
Yeah.
pretty freeing for sure.
It is. It absolutely is. So, Katie, tell everybody a little bit about how if they had questions about what you've talked about, how would they reach out to you, or how would they? I'm assuming you guys have a website, and I'm assuming you're listed on there, but that's an assumption, and I don't want to make that assumption.
Sure. Um, well, I mean, I'll give out my personal email address. And so it's Katie, Katie, Lowry, Lowry, the number 33 at gmail.com. Yeah, anyone that wants to just send me some encouragement some days because I think every day in education is challenging, and I think one of our biggest issues in education is that we are not promoting the good things that are happening,
Uh-huh.
and
Mhm.
the media and the world loves to point out those bad apples along the way. And
Mhm.
if you really think about how huge the public education system is, it's like less than 0.00000001 that are
Mhm.
ruining it. And the
Right.
problem is because we as educators don't feel like we have a voice at the table, and we do.
Mhm.
We deserve to be our biggest cheerleaders, and that's not coming from a place of, oh, look at us. That's coming from a place of, yo, we are literally raising the future.
The next generation. Yeah,
I mean, and
absolutely.
and
Yeah.
and that's huge. That's a pretty
Yeah.
big it's a pretty big ask out of people, but a lot of incredible things are going on and have been happening in public ed, and the world just wants to focus on the negative. And so I think we need to get out there more often and say public ed is doing amazing things. Everyone that's in education, it is your anyone that's in this field for the I don't know who would do this for the wrong reasons. You don't get paid enough. It's not that fun. I'm just kidding. But like if your heart's not in this, you will. It is not
It'll
sustainable.
eat you up. It'll
It
chew you up and spit you out. It absolutely will,
and
because
and
it's a
and
hard
s-
job.
it is. It is not easy. And so our teachers are really the heroes. Like as a leader, like I get to kind of sit back and see the cool things that they do. My husband's a teacher, and he is phenomenal. Don't tell him I said that, but he's actually a really good math teacher, and he changes kids' lives every day. And sometimes I look at the teachers and I go, how cool that is. I remember those days of being able to have
Mhm.
that kind of impact on kids, and you miss it because you didn't go into this to make big bucks and to have parades in your name and to have your face on a stamp. And so staying the course, I think, is important. Remembering
Mm.
your why every day, remembering to use the gifts that God has given you that are just innate in you. Um, and that's what's going to plug up some of those holes in your bucket as the water tries to keep pouring out. Surround yourself with
Yeah.
good people.
Absolutely, absolutely. I 1000% agree, and I'll tell you, Brighter Together is exactly one of the places that you can have that voice. And so, if you're a superintendent or a special education director, because those are the two leadership roles kind of that we have identified here, because play such a big part in what Lighthouse does as well. So, because we partner with schools, that's what we do. And we've partnered with you. I love that. Yay. But it is one of those things where it's like you do have a voice, and you need to speak up. We need to talk about the amazing things that are happening in education, because of exactly what you said. So many, and they want to pigeonhole us into you're bad because, and you're bad because of test scores. You're bad because you don't manage your money well. Well, give us some money so that we can do our jobs, for goodness sake, and there's a million others. So, and those are things that are really, really hard to fix, but we can talk about the amazing things that we've done, and about our teams, and about and it is a huge country, and so, for me, as an organization that can get out there and say, okay, we have a podcast, we have a way that we can give educators a voice. Let's give that voice. So I do. So Brighter
I love
Together was
that.
born,
I love that.
and we give it back, and we do these and we publish them, and then we don't copyright them, because we give them back to the schools. We want you to be able to use it for whatever it is that because the more people and the more we talk about it, the more that it's going to be heard, and it needs to be heard. And I'm really prayerful that more people will have podcasts and talk about it, because it's not like before, where you had to get on the news or whatever, newspaper. We have a
Right.
voice, and we have an ability to get it right out there, and get it out
Absolutely.
on social media, and get it out on the internet, and all the things that people say are bad. This is a
Right.
way that we can use social media for a positive
Really good.
impact. So
For sure.
keep doing it. You
For
keep doing
sure.
it. So thank you, Katie, for
Mhm.
coming and being on the show. Thank you for your passion and your love of the kids and your team, and just keep doing it. Keep it up.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate y'all so much. What a fun group you brought to GCase for me to even get to know you and your daughter, and of course, I love John.
Yeah.
But I love the positivity behind the concept of your business, and that's not always out there. If you've worked with a lot of related service providers, the intent is not always pure. I feel like, and I think that's done education a bad disservice too. So kudos to you guys for having the right reason and the right heart behind everything that you do, and it takes a village. So right now in our world it's hard, but great things are happening, and great things will continue to happen.
Yeah,
So I appreciate it.
absolutely. God bless you.
Thank
Enjoy the rest.
you.
It's March 12th, but we'll be hearing this probably in May. So I pray that you have a great rest of the semester, and look forward to serving you guys more in the future.
Awesome. Thank
Thank
you so
you.
much.